Imagine grinding a virtual game for 16 hours a day, not for fun, but to feed your family. That's the reality for thousands of gold farmers across the world. In this video, we're diving deep into the strange global economy of MMORPG gold farming, how it started, who profits, and why this underground industry still survives in 2025. Let's connect the dots between pixels and profits. So, what exactly is gold farming? In simple terms, it's the practice of grinding relentlessly in a game to acquire massive amounts of virtual currency or valuable items, with the sole intent of selling them for real-world cash. This is real money trading, or RMT. It's the digital equivalent of mining ore or harvesting crops, but the output is pixels that people will pay for. This isn't just a casual side hustle, it's often an industrial operation. The roots of this industry run deep, tracing back to the early 2000s with titles that pioneered digital economies: World of Warcraft, RuneScape, and Lineage II. Back then, the industry wasn't just individual players selling a few coins. We're talking about organized operations. Think back to the infamous Chinese gold farming factories of the mid-2000s. Rows upon rows of computers, minimum wage workers logging 12-hour shifts, treating virtual worlds like assembly lines. They weren't playing for fun, they were playing for wages. These workshops generated virtual wealth on an industrial scale. But why is there such massive demand for this virtual gold? The answer is simple: time is money. For many players, especially professionals with high-paying jobs, spending 50 hours grinding for a new weapon just isn't worth it. They'd rather spend $20 or $50, buy the gold instantly, bypass the grind, and jump straight to the fun part, the competitive endgame, the raids or the PvP. If gold farming is a supply side of this equation, then the digital economy of these MMORPGs is the engine driving the demand. People often forget that these games aren't just virtual playgrounds. They are functioning economies, governed by the same principles as the real world: supply, demand, and crucially, inflation. In a game like World of Warcraft or RuneScape, every piece of gold generated, whether by killing a monster, completing a quest, or crafting an item, adds to the money supply. When the money supply grows faster than the items available, you get inflation. Prices for everything from health potions to raid gear start to skyrocket. This is where gold farming becomes central. The game developers are aware of this. In fact, many major MMORPGs have attempted to legalize RMT in a controlled way to combat the black market. Blizzard introduced the WoW token, and RuneScape has bonds. These are in-game items you can buy with real money from the developers and then sell on the in-game market for gold. This system allows players to safely purchase gold, or more accurately, to purchase an item that another player can redeem for game time. It sets a legal exchange rate for in-game currency. But here's the kicker: the black market still operates, often offering much better rates than the official systems. If you look at platforms like player auctions or dedicated RMT discords, you see real-time price fluctuations. The price of gold isn't just about the game economy, it's tied to real-world currencies and the supply efficiency of the gold farmers. For instance, based on current market data, the average price for WoW gold on black markets is significantly lower than buying it via the official WoW token, depending on the server and current supply. So, where does the demand come from? We touched on it in Chapter 1, time-poor players. These are often adult players with disposable income but limited time. They want to experience the endgame content, the high-level raids, the intense PvP, without spending hundreds of hours grinding for materials. They are essentially buying time and convenience. For a professional player, spending $50 on gold might save them 20 hours of farming. To them, that's a great exchange. This intense demand, driven by players willing to pay real money, is the fundamental reason the gold farming industry thrives. If you imagine a gold farmer as a lone bot running in a dark basement, you're missing the true picture. The people doing this work are scattered across the globe, predominantly in developing nations, driven by powerful economic forces that connect their local realities to our virtual worlds. Historically, the epicenter was China. The gold factories of the 2000s were infamous, employing thousands of young, often rural workers in intense, repetitive labor. But as the industry evolved, it spread to other regions like Southeast Asia, and perhaps most notably, Venezuela. Take a look at these graphics. They paint a stark picture of the Venezuelan economic crisis, a situation where hyperinflation crushed the value of their local currency. The rise of gold farming in Venezuela is a stark example of how this digital economy intersects with real-world crisis. Due to hyperinflation and the devaluation of their local currency, the bolivar, many Venezuelans found themselves in a situation where their traditional jobs paid almost nothing. And just look at this comparison. A heartbreaking Venezuelan minimum wage of around $3.50 a month slammed against a gold farmer's potential $100 a month income. In the nightmare of hyperinflation, that's not just a difference in pay, it's the difference between barely surviving and actually having a chance. This is where the USD income advantage comes in. While the gold farmer might only earn a few dollars a day in USD, that income, converted to their local currency, can be exponentially higher than a monthly minimum wage. For many, gold farming became a vital lifeline, a way to feed their families and survive. But let's be crystal clear, this isn't just about economic theory. Venezuela has been decimated by a decade of disastrous policies and crippling economic sanctions. We're talking a nation absolutely mired in a humanitarian crisis. Hyperinflation has made their currency worthless. Mass unemployment is rampant, and there are acute, life-threatening shortages of everything vital: food, medicine, even basic electricity. This isn't just bad. It's a daily struggle that has literally driven millions of people from their homes, desperately searching for food, better living conditions, and any work opportunities beyond their borders. It's crucial to understand, for these individuals, this is not leisure. It is an arduous, often monotonous job. They are playborers, workers employed to play a game, who likely never experience the game for fun. Their objective is maximum efficiency and profit. They might work 12 to 16-hour shifts, sometimes in crowded internet cafes or shared living spaces, logging repetitive tasks to meet quotas. Gold farming provides a striking example of liminal ICT work, jobs associated with digital technologies that exist on the edge of what is formally legal or socially acceptable. It highlights a massive global labor market where individuals with more time than money meet players with more money than time. Despite the economic drivers we've explored, gold farming exists almost entirely in a gray zone. It's widely tolerated, yet fundamentally against the rules. While gold farming itself is not explicitly illegal in most countries, it universally violates the Terms of Service, or TOS, and End-User License Agreements, or EUAs, of nearly every major MMORPG. Game companies view RMT as a corrosive force. It damages the in-game economy, devalues the time spent by legitimate players, and creates an unequal playing field. To combat this, they wage a constant war against RMT operations. This isn't just talk. It includes mass account bans, often wiping out thousands of accounts in a single wave. Developers are pouring resources into sophisticated bot detection and tracking algorithms, leveraging AI and machine learning to identify even the most subtle automated behaviors and unnatural trading patterns. They scrutinize everything from player movement and keystroke timings to in-game currency flows. They also implement trade limits and restrictions on new accounts to slow down the flow of illicit gold, essentially building digital roadblocks to disrupt the black market. Beyond just fighting the farmers, gaming companies also have to protect the game's integrity from the buyers. Purchasing gold on the black market is a massive gamble for players. They risk losing their entire account, sometimes thousands of hours and hundreds of dollars of legitimate progress if detected by the game's security systems. It's not just bans either. These RMT platforms are absolutely rife with scams, credit card fraud, and the constant threat of compromised accounts if players are foolish enough to share their login details. It's a high-stakes, high-risk world on both sides of the transaction. This brings us to the ethical tightrope of gold farming. Is this a case of digital exploitation, or is it a legitimate economic hustle in response to globalization and wage disparities? Game companies argue it's exploitation, that these workers are essentially operating digital sweatshops driven by intense demand and working conditions that undermine the integrity of their games. However, from the perspective of the gold farmers, especially those in regions experiencing economic hardship, this is a viable livelihood. As we saw with Venezuela, earning a few dollars in a game can be the difference between poverty and survival. The industry has also evolved beyond human workers. The rise of sophisticated botting programs and automated farming has made many of the original gold factories obsolete. These bots can farm 24/7 without rest, significantly lowering the cost of gold and intensifying the conflict between developers and RMT operations. So is this underground economy still thriving in 2025, or is gold farming a relic of the past? The answer is complex. While some might point to the decline in popularity of certain older MMORPGs, the gold farming industry hasn't died, it's simply evolved and adapted. Games like World of Warcraft and old-school RuneScape remain major players with dedicated communities, and their economies are still highly active. However, the methods of gold farming have shifted dramatically. The most significant change is the increasing role of automation. We've moved beyond the human gold factory model. Today, sophisticated AI-driven bots are the preferred method for generating currency. These AI bots can mimic human behavior better than ever, operate 24/7, and are incredibly efficient at farming resources without detection. This automation significantly reduces labor costs for RMT operations, keeping the supply of cheap gold flowing. Furthermore, the black market has decentralized. While websites like player auctions still exist, a massive amount of real money trading now happens on private, invitation-only Discord servers and specialized forums. This shift allows for faster, more discreet transactions and makes it harder for game companies to track the trading. And we can't ignore the impact of cryptocurrency and NFT games. While the hype around play-to-earn models has seen ups and downs, the fundamental concept has influenced the RMT market. In 2025, many new games feature economies where assets are intrinsically linked to blockchain and crypto, effectively making gold farming a formalized, sanctioned part of the gameplay.